Welcome to Life Karma. Give thanks.
Redemption.
Give thanks for redemption.
Give thanks that you have a chance for redemption.
Yes.
Jeez, it's been a while, guys, so I'm gonna have to redeem myself today.
Yes. I've been bugging the crap out of him to come do a podcast.
I've been in a dark place for a couple weeks.
I notice whenever Brian doesn't return my calls, I just leave him alone because I know he has some heavy stuff he's dealing with.
He's working through some BS crap.
BS, the obstacles. So
The client obstacles. Some crazy stuff happening, sounds like. I was just telling my wife, I'm like, I'm going over to do a podcast, and she's like, do I have to do everything? And I'm like, oh boy. I'm like, here we go.
She doesn't understand that the podcast here is therapeutic. There's a therapeutic quality of just cathartically discussing the difficulties of life.
She's like, I have to do everything. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, I have to poop scoop every time. I'm like, well.
It's like your dog, baby. That's one of the... Kim and Hannah went out on a poop parade with little plastic baggies and picking all that stuff up because, Bo's doggies are here.
But I'm like, you have 4 boys.
Yeah, that's a great lesson for them to learn.
What the heck are they doing?
They need to be scooping to pooping.
Oh my gosh, I mean...
You should give them a quarter for every time they scoop a poop
I'm not
up.
paying them crap. I told them to get their butts up and go out there. So they're out there with bags, and Brooks is out there. I'm going to throw up. This is so disgusting. I'm going to throw up. I'm like, that's privilege.
Yeah.
That right there.
Oh, that's so much privilege.
That's privilege.
That's privilege.
Oh, but I'm just like, I have to do everything. It's like in your marriages or your relationships, any relationships you have, like the other person will take things to extremes. Sometimes.
Right.
I do everything. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Yeah. So here's what I learned from a therapist. You don't want to ever use words like always, everything,
amen,
every time, because that just gets you in trouble. I always feel this way. You're like, oh, shit, that's not good. You got to say, often. I feel this way often.
78% of the time I feel like this.
A majority of the time, I've noticed this pattern. Even that gets you in a world of shit. You got to get redeemed out of that.
Because I'd be like, what, over 50%? You're saying over 50%? What's your problem? What are you talking about? Dude.
What you talking about, Willis? I mean, that probably not a lot of people know where that comes from.
No, I do not know that.
But
I do.
Yeah.
So what brings you greater peace, the mountains or the ocean?
Ooh. I got to say the ocean.
I agree too.
I'm an ocean guy.
But then,
mountains are cool, but ocean's better.
I agree. Is that just because we don't have it though?
Probably because Hawaii and Destin, Florida and California. The only thing redeeming about California are its beaches and ocean.
And the blonde ladies.
Oh, and the beautiful, fine looking women. And there's good looking men there too. So I guess it's both ways.
I'm sorry, guys.
Yeah, you can't. We got to be.
We just don't notice them as much.
Yeah, we got to be.
Our bad.
Yeah, our bad. So,
speaking of that, can I just tell you how stupid, freaking ridiculous it is that you have to take a COVID test within 72 hours to be able to go to Hawaii?
You do. That's ridiculous.
Can I tell you how bad that pisses me off?
Well, I mean, Kim has a cold. Kim and Hannah have a cold. They do a teledoc thing, and they got to go to COVID test. And they did it 2 days ago. They haven't got the results back, and they're fine. The cold's done. It's over, and they're feeling fine. I don't think it's asymptomatic COVID problems.
No.
We got to quarantine. Like they're upstairs quarantined in our bedroom.
Oh my gosh, this topic drives me. Okay, so because we were trying to plan to go to Hawaii.
Right.
And give the kids a gift for Christmas to go to Hawaii. Privilege. Yeah. I understand privilege. Leave me alone. And so I started looking into the test. So they only approve certain partners. And then I started reading into the fine print. And when I start reading into fine print, it is not a good thing.
No, because you can pay for everything. And if there's a positive test, no money back or something.
Not only that, but when you go and take a test, whether it's negative or positive, it is reported to local authorities, local health department, Utah and Hawaii, all government agencies. So just so you guys know, the cops have a list of who's taking the test and who's not. Basically, the cops have turned into Santa Claus.
So I have my daughter-in-law works at a company, and she shares a workstation with someone from South Korea. And I got to be very discreet here, but
Yes.
this
Be
person,
careful, don't get us sued.
no, but this person may have allegedly, is asymptomatic with COVID, and this person went home to South Korea. They tested him, did a rapid test as he got off the plane, and he tested positive for COVID.
Right.
So they put him in COVID prison for 3 weeks.
Where?
Where? In South Korea.
In South freaking Korea?
Yeah, in South
Oh my
Korea. So
gosh.
he's Korean. So they put him in COVID prison for 3 weeks. My daughter-in-law has to quarantine for 2 weeks at home. So she can't come to Thanksgiving because this guy, this asymptomatic dude, and he's and her colleague at work is stuck in a COVID prison with only one change of clothes and a cell phone for 3 weeks.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, okay, just let me break this down. Who forces your daughter-in-law to sit at the freaking house and be quarantined? Like, there's no law. There's no anything. I understand that she does it out of the goodness of her heart to make sure the public, blah, blah, blah. But, like, where did this tyranny come from? Like, where did this...
If something isn't done around this stuff, we're losing our freedoms quite rapidly at this point, and I don't know what we do to make that better. One of my friends, who I dearly love and respect, he said, like, we just got to put term limits on congressional
I agree
and
with that,
senatorial
1,000%.
seats. Like, it's just broken our government, and term limits just keep...
Well, why do we have it for the president but not others?
Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense, because what happens is these people just they stay there and they get their cronies, and then the work doesn't get done. And if you were to put a 2-year, two-term limit on Congress, and just every time, and senators had to roll in and roll out every 6 years, I think we'd have a better form of government.
Well, I wouldn't even mind if, I get a president's 2 terms, and I'll be honest, not a lot can be done by a Democrat or Republican president in 8 years, even if because you usually don't have the Senate with you.
Right.
So I'm all for term limits, because here's the thing I believe is if there's term limits, if it's a really big thing that the country wants to change as a collective, it can happen in that time period.
Yeah.
If not, you don't need to put your stamp on something.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I don't know. How do we go about doing term limits? Should I run for Congress?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. I mean,
I don't know. What do you guys
whatever.
think? I know our audience of 100 people, which is soon going to be 100,000. 100,000 people.
I did have someone reach out to me through email saying, "Hey, we need successful podcasts like your guys' is on our channel."
Well, we do have a successful
I know,
podcast.
it's
We
just
just
like-
don't have the audience we want yet.
Oh,
We do really good,
We do really
profound.
good. I think we do really good. I mean, our stats are whatever. It doesn't matter.
We're growing.
It's probably more for me and Sam than it is.
Yeah,
anything
we're
but
growing rapidly, and our listeners are expanding. So thank you, listeners. We
Yes.
think you're awesome. I've had 3 people talk to me this week about our podcast. And they're like,
I know. I had someone ask,
Listen
"When's
to
the
them
next
all the
one?" I'm
time.
like, "It's my bad. It's not Sam's. It's my fault. My bad. Sorry." Judas, settle down.
That's okay though.
Judas.
You're gonna be redeemed. Today is your day of redemption.
That's what I was trying to think of. Like, you talk about, I don't know, redemption has been on my mind a lot. Like, what the freak does that even mean? Redemption. Because I feel like I've heard a lot of people saying it, right? From the left. I've heard a lot of people on the right saying, well, redemption's coming. I'm like, why you guys, are you taking kind of like a Christian word, I feel like, and using it in different ways?
I think there have been times where in history where Christians have used redemption as a weapon. They weaponize the word redemption, because I think at the origin of redemption comes forgiveness and like complete absolution around the mistakes we make in our life, and the ability to start over and learn from your mistakes and make new and become better because of your mistakes. I think that's where the origin of the word sort of comes. I need to talk to some of my friends who are, just geniuses with language, but that's what it means to me. If people are using it like redemption is coming, that's like a weaponized version of it.
Oh, yeah, it's like it
makes
spread
no
fear.
sense. Yeah, that's like, oh, you'll get yours. It's funny because they're using redemption out of context. They should use karma. If you're going to use any word like that, they should say karma's coming.
It always does.
This is why our podcast is a lot. This is why we have Life Karma, right? It's, what goes around comes around. You eventually get what you which you get because you behave yourself into that result. And
Yeah.
you want better results, you got to get better behavior. So
Yeah. And I want to go back to this Hawaii thing just for a second.
Yeah, please.
Because, so I was talking to my wife. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to Hawaii. I'm not taking the test. I'm not doing anything. And she's like, what's your problem? Like, this is for the kids. And I'm like, at what point, though, do you start voting with your money? Like, if everyone said, I'm not going to Hawaii because of this stupid restriction, I got to go pay $600 out of pocket to get tested before I even go there because I have 4 kids. It's like, at what point do you say, nah, you don't get my money when you put restrictions on that I seem are unreasonable?
yeah. I think here's a prototype for you. Bring Hawaii to you. Take the 15 grand or 20 grand that you would spend going to Hawaii with your whole family and put it as a down payment on a pool and a luxurious backyard.
That would be amazing, but we decided to go to Florida instead.
Well, you can go to Florida a lot easier than Hawaii.
Yeah, do you know
Yeah,
where
that's exactly. You're going to go to, where are you going to go? Destin? Go to
No, it's like some little small beach town or something, but like,
where? Pensacola? Like, you don't know
I
yet.
don't know. Emily's got it all set up. And that's another thing that she said to me.
She needs to talk to me because I know exactly where to go to Florida.
Yeah, but this is another instance of she said, I do everything. I do everything.
It's such a burden to plan a family vacation to
everything.
Florida.
It's like, what do you mean?
So you're going to go to, if you're going to go to Orlando, if you're going to go to Disney World.
No, hell no.
No, good. That's
No.
good. And you're better off
Not
going.
going to Disney World.
Yeah.
No, that's it. They're their own city. I'm not supporting that crap anymore. Did you know that? They're their own city.
I don't doubt that.
No, they are. Like,
I'm sure
they get their own tax revenue back. So when you pay tax, city tax,
you're just
it's
giving.
just going back
it's
to
just-
Disney World.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Like, I can commit a DUI at Disney World, and they're the ones that are in charge of charging me.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
I bet they have jail, like real jails.
They got Disney World jail. I'm like,
You
if
have
I
to-
don't wear a mask, do you go to Disney World jail?
Probably. And you have to wear a mask on the beach in Hawaii.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
That's a crime.
Yeah, that's unconstitutional. There's something's got to be terrible about it.
We
There's
saw
something
the
terribly wrong
Danish
about that.
study, right? They came out on the masks.
Right.
Yeah, no, they're not effective people. I get it. Like, we're all being good citizens, blah, blah, blah. Like, feed me the narrative. That's fine. And I get that the COVID is real. Like, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
But I'm not wearing a mask on a beach.
Yeah, I wouldn't wear a mask on the
Pisses
beach.
me off. I've been angry for 2 weeks. That's the problem
He's
here,
been angry.
people.
And when you have anger, it's hard for
Not gonna
light
work
to
out.
come into the
It's
anger.
not going to work out.
Anger
You
and
can't do a
darkness
podcast.
anger and darkness are teammates. They love each other.
I got to ask you a question.
Please.
When did you let Hannah first start getting on social media?
Way too young. I can tell you that. That's been a terrible mistake.
What
She's
age?
14.
Yeah.
We allowed her to start doing it 2 years ago.
Okay.
Which is entirely too early.
So what would you, if you could, hindsight 2020, I mean, we're all stupid parents. We always make mistakes anyways, but what
Yeah.
would you do now?
I wouldn't let her get access to social media until after she's 16, to be honest. And it would be terrible, but it'd be tough shit because trying to unwind and manage and get her to pull back on that now after 2 years is nearly impossible. When she's 16, she'd be close enough to an adult, and she probably would be, because when she's 18, she can do whatever the hell she wants.
Right.
But now we're having to mitigate her usage and monitor and do all this weird stuff because all that social media kind of trigger is like cocaine to the brain. It really stimulates your
Well, and we're trying to
serotonin
figure
levels
that-
and stuff.
Yeah, we're trying to figure that out with Drake. He's 12. And I'm like, nah. After watching The Social Dilemma on Netflix, after listening to Joe Rogan's podcast with the guy that did that movie, I'm like, nope. Social media, no. It's designed to divide us, people.
Oh yeah, it's what's
It's
dividing.
designed to divide us.
Yeah, so we have a call for unity.
Yes, we
We're
do.
here about like being fascinated with differences, enjoying the differences, celebrating differences, and understanding. And heaven forbid we learn from one another.
Still not going to Hawaii.
No, you're going to Florida instead.
I mean, seriously, for the money you spend to go to Hawaii, it's just it's ridiculous.
Yeah, so I think you should. You shouldn't mince your words about how much you don't want to go to
Not
Hawaii.
only that, though, but did you know all the governors, legislators from all over the nation just recently, last week, were in Hawaii?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, from states that were locked down. So they
Oh,
all met
sure.
in Hawaii
Of course they
to
did.
do their conference
Of course.
in Maui. I'm like, did you guys wear masks the whole time you freaking talking to each other?
Now, I was at a conference in Park City or in Deer Valley for 3 days, and we were all socially distanced, and everybody wore a mask, and there was about 40 of us. And,
How intimate was that?
And then we had other people outside. So we had 30 or 40 of us, and then we had another 50 or 60, or actually another 150 people on Zoom. So it was a Zoom conference, and it was, I think it was as good as it can get, and those kind of things. But it lost some of the humanity of it all. But I think all in all, it was pretty good.
How much do
conference.
we need that kind of humanity, intimacy?
It's absolutely critical to our mental health.
Yes. That's what I think too, is like, I know I've said this before, we're just hurting the poor and the children.
Yeah.
And that's what gets me fired up.
We're really going to create a bunch of dysfunction in children. This is all going to really hurt them.
Yes.
Because it's going to be more difficult. Social media by itself is hurting them because they can't have conversations.
Well, yeah.
They can't have, it's like, oh, you see it differently. Well, let's talk it out. And they're like, nope. And I'm like, what do you mean no?
They're like, no. Yeah. They're like, I'm set.
No. We need to talk through this
Yeah.
because you're not in charge. At least with our kids,
I love it. Drake has opinions now. He's 12. He has opinions. And I'm like, oh, you're hitting puberty.
Oh, yeah. It's good to have
Congrats.
opinions. When I want your opinion, I'll ask
That's
for
right,
it.
that's
And
right.
Opinions, I learned long ago that opinions don't mean shit. I'm sorry.
No, they don't mean anything.
You know what means more than opinion? Experience. So I don't want to hear your opinion or what you think. I want to know what you know because of what you've done and what you've learned. So experience is far more important to me than someone's damn opinion. Like, I really am sorry. That could be a whole podcast.
What if you have opinion from experience?
Well, that's not an opinion. That's a learning.
Well, not necessarily, because what if you experience something and because of the experience, you think you have an opinion in the other way?
I would respect that more than just, well, my favorite color's brown and my favorite color's pink, and we need to paint the walls pink instead of brown. And I'm like, okay, are you an interior designer? Do you know color? Have you looked at the color wheel to know what's perfectly complementary? No, you haven't. You like shit brown instead of bright pink. And I'm
Yes.
like,
You're
that
a
kind of
unicorn.
stuff I don't like.
You're a unicorn.
Yeah, you're a unicorn. I don't like that. Now,
yeah.
if you've been through some shitstorm and you've had some struggles and some experiences and you've learned from those experiences and that formulates your opinion, that informs your opinion,
Yeah.
I'm going to respect that a lot more. So you caught me there.
Well, then Emily will say, I do everything.
Yeah.
I do everything.
So you created heaven and
take
earth.
this, dude. I just-
So you do everything.
Oh, my
So did
gosh.
you build the roads up here? Did you build your own house?
As you can see, that totally affected me on my way over here.
So I think it would have been better off if she would have said, honey, I feel like I do more things than you.
Or I feel like I need some help with poop scooping.
Yeah. Maybe we can leverage the boys and teach them a lesson to scoop the poop so I don't feel like I have to do everything.
Yeah, it's just like Judas.
Yeah. Doesn't work though. You
Judas,
can't, because
Judas,
when you're
Judas.
at war like that, we're meant to, I'm learning this concept about being at war. And the reason why all this divisiveness is working in our country is because human beings are naturally at war. And for them to be at love and at peace and acceptance and, that's hard. That requires discipline and meditation and being centered and all that. But it's super easy to get angry. It's super easy to be at war. And we're sort of built, our human brains and our neural systems are built to be at war and to argue with everybody. But what people don't understand is when you are at war over time, that becomes chronic stress and that kills you.
Yes.
Cortisol levels are high in your body and stress levels are high. Your heart and blood pressure, your heart rate increases, your blood pressure increases. I'm reading this great book called Breathe, and it's really cool. It's about we need to slow our breathing down, breathe through your nose and increase the amount of carbon dioxide in your body because that will naturally lower all those levels. And
So
if
let
you
me-
breathe through your mouth, that's not good.
I'm going to tell you why that's important.
Mouth breathing.
I read an article
evidently.
about it, actually.
Mouth breathing kills you, actually. I
Well,
guess.
no, not mouth breathing, but there's a big study done by scientists. Oh, shoot, just dropped my phone there. But they took 30 people over 64 years old,
Right.
put them in a controlled chamber,
Right.
90 minutes a day, gave them 90% pure oxygen
Okay.
for 5 days a week for 3 months. They reversed their cells, the part of the age that has your DNA and stuff on it, back to 25 years previously.
Wow. So this book would probably disagree with that. What this book would say is it's not the amount of oxygen you take in that makes you stronger and makes you healthier. It's the amount of, because we take in plenty of oxygen just with normal breath.
Right.
It's the amount you exhale. So this book is all about exhaling.
But what about the purity of it?
Well, I think the purity of it helps, but they discount these oxygen bars and this oxygen infusion stuff. And I think what I would say, based on what I've learned from what you just said and these other folks are saying, is that it's the exhaling that builds your diaphragm and improves the skeletal kind of things and helps your body get healthier. But the more you can get pure oxygen in and exhale it out, I think naturally you'd be more healthy. But just like a pop-up, oxygen's not going to make that big of a difference. But I don't know. That's what the book would say. But when I was a collegiate athlete, man, every time I got to the damn sidelines after a series of plays or whenever, I would just grab that oxygen mask and be like, oh, because you're just spent. And that would help. It would help my performance, I think. So I think there's some things to be determined. But
there's definitely something to deep meditation and the breathing of it. I almost feel like metaphorically or truly, as you do exhale, things go with it.
Right. So you inhale light, exhale darkness. I think there's some metaphorical things that work there. I think meditation, and I think your ability to process the oxygen that you actually do receive when you're focusing on exhaling and breathing through your nose, I think is much better. At least that's what my opinion, even though I'm not a doctor, read a book and have an opinion now.
I mean, the article, if you guys want to look it up, is Human Aging Reversed in Holy Grail Study. Scientists say, and what is a hyperbaric? What's it called? It's done in Israel, Tel Aviv, of course, in Israel.
Yeah.
Hyperbaric oxygen therapy.
Yeah, no, I believe in that. Now, when I was hyperbaric healing can really help you a lot.
Subjects were placed in a pressurized chamber and given pure oxygen for 90 minutes a day, 5 days a week for 3 months.
Wow.
At the end of the trial, the scientists reported that the participants' telomeres, I don't even know if I'm saying that right, had increased in length by an average of 20%, while the senescent cells had been reduced by up to 37%. This is the equivalent of how their bodies were at cellular level 25 years earlier.
Okay, so let's get some hyperbaric chambers, man. Let's just hit it.
I'm just like, give me that oxygen.
I've done that with severe injury before. When you want to get healing quickly, I use hyperbaric chambers.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, actually, that shit works.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know about, Breathe's a great book, but I know that what you're talking about works.
Oh, it sounds like it works, but like if you can,
does it help arthritis and all?
I bet it does. But like in 3 months, you can take those cells back 25 years.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that, but does it make you feel younger and healthier?
Well, how weird is the body anyway?
Like if that was a fact, everybody be doing hyperbaric chamber shit.
Maybe they will be in like 10 years, and we'll be like, yeah, our podcast talked about that 10 years ago.
Yeah,
talked about it
then we'll be redeemed after people talk about
but
it.
How expensive is a hyperbaric chamber?
I don't know. We should buy one. We should have in the Life Karma Studios. We should get a hyperbaric chamber.
Should. Maybe we should take like a SpaceX shuttle up to the moon while we're at it too. Oh my god!
Well, one of my sons is a rocket scientist, so he can probably help us on that.
Dude, what's
path.
his problem? Yeah, he needs to get going on that.
Yeah,
he needs to hook us up.
He's working.
I feel like he can hook us up somehow.
I think he could.
I know. I think he knows. I mean, obviously, I've never talked to him, but I think he knows aliens exist.
Well, I'm trying to tell him he has high security clearance, right? The highest kind of government security clearance. Yeah. I'm like, dude, if you see an alien, you got to tell me. If you see like a dead alien or something, and he goes, Dad, I cannot tell you. And I'm like, dude, you got to. I know you know aliens exist already, and you got to tell me.
I mean, like,
but he won't
know.
He's like, Mum's the word.
There's been a lot of sightings lately. Speaking of aliens. Like a ton of sightings.
Did they bring redemption? Do aliens bring redemption?
But they're like the Encounters of the Fifth Kind ones where they're like balls and they almost go like in and out.
Yeah.
In and out. And it's like.
So their consciousness.
There's something big coming.
It's connection with consciousness.
Speaking of that, thank you for reminding me. I don't know. She's like springing all types of things. I watched Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
Yes.
Do you remember that one?
I remember.
Okay. Do you remember this part where at the end, he's walking into that room, spoiler alert, and there's like the 12 aliens.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember if it's 12 or 13. I'm pretty sure it's 12.
Yeah, and the head is like the
one's missing
linchpin.
the skull.
You put the one.
And this is what Indiana Jones says as he walks in. Their collective consciousness was the key to their knowledge. I was like, excuse me? What'd you just say?
You said spoiler alert on a movie that's 30 years old.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a spoiler alert, but that.
For you 8-year-olds out there. That
Yeah,
haven't
that's
seen it
true.
yet.
Because that's pretty cool.
I was like, what? What did you say?
Consciousness, collective consciousness.
Collective consciousness? I mean, maybe that's what messed up
Well,
Shia LaBeouf.
you know, I will tell you this. I got to tell you this. I was really impressed. The leader of our faith.
I'm glad you brought this up because I do want to talk about it.
The leader of our faith, President Nelson, had a call to the world yesterday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, where he was a famous heart surgeon before he really became a full-time minister and started leading ecclesiastically in our faith. But he was one of the most prominent heart surgeons in the world, and I think he was on the team that invented the mechanical heart, the first heart transplant.
The first heart transplant.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
And but what he shared this message about his background in medicine and his background in ministry both lead to a solution that could make things better, and it's the practice of gratitude. And he encouraged people inside our faith and outside our faith all over the world to give thanks, and it was really cool. And I immediately responded. And he encouraged us all to hashtag give thanks and to share our message of gratitude to everyone in the world. And then that's the first thing. The second thing was to pray that this difficulty with COVID and these kind of things we could get through these things with gratitude. And I think, you can take Remdesivir and it can help you with COVID. I think gratitude can really heal much of the infirmities you have in your life. In my Orange Duffel Bag book, The Last Rule for the Road is gratitude. I read that book. I wrote it, but I read it every year, and I'm about finished with it again this year. And gratitude just heals so much, and it builds so much peace and light in your life. It's pretty cool.
Well, I think gratitude is super important. And I think gratitude, you can have it without having to experience the opposite nowadays because of all the forms of media and the ways that we know to be able to learn about other societies, cultures, and things that other people have been through. That gives you perspective. You're no longer growing up in a neighborhood with limited knowledge. I think gratitude is a huge thing.
Yeah. So when a call out to gratitude for the whole world to be grateful, to me is likened unto collective consciousness, right? He's like encouraging people to express gratitude and to pray to be able to find gratitude in everything, regardless of our circumstance, is really close to a call for collective consciousness.
It is. Well, the praying part is.
Yeah, I think it's very cool. And I think there's immense power in that. Like, my spirit has been lifted over the last day and a half immensely because of those things. Because I've reached out to people that I was grateful for their contribution in my life and made posts on my social media about gratitude. I shared some videos that I created with 1 minute gut check stuff out there on gratitude. So it was very cool.
I love gratitude, and I think it's something that's very missed in society today because we're so focused on the negative and not the good.
Yeah. Yeah. Gratitude. So when you've been harmed, and being grateful for struggle and trial is a sign that you've healed from that trouble. And people don't understand the role of gratitude in your life can be huge, both in overcoming obstacles and then in building friendships and building future relationships. Like, I'm really grateful for my friendship with you, and I think about that a lot. And also, I'm concerned about your well-being and your family's well-being because I'm grateful for you, and I'm grateful for my own family and for people who've had big impacts in my life, and I'm grateful for just to be able to interact with other human beings because, right now we're sort of isolated and we feel alone a lot. And there's just much to be grateful for.
Yeah, and you're probably afraid for my well-being because of how many times I want to burn people's houses.
Well, I mean,
down.
what has me afraid for you is I'm like, you got to have a way to process all the shit you deal with every week. But one of the great things I do in my Orange Duffel Bag book that I encourage people to do, and that is get an 8.5 by 11 sheet of blank paper, and then start writing the things you're grateful for, and don't finish until there's no room left on both sides of the paper. If you've never done that, it'll blow your damn mind, because you'll get stuck, and then you have to go back to it, and you'll get stuck again. You have to go back to it. And it may take you weeks to fill that paper up, but you'll be a changed person after that.
That reminds me of the story that you told of your kids around Christmas time,
Right.
giving up all their money.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was a great story.
That was such a great story. It's just, yeah. I want my kids to sit down and just write 20 things on Christmas Eve they're grateful for.
Yeah. We have this tradition in our home. I had this really cool box. You'll see it under our tree, but 25 years ago, I built this very, very expensive, elaborate hand-carved box. And every year, and I put really nice pens in it and some elegant paper, and every year, as part of our religious observation of Christmas and those kinds of things, we give a gift to God in our behavior, and we write a letter to God, and we promise to be a better person, and then we put that letter in that box. We have 25 years of letters.
I know this is the wrong.
And it'd be cool. We'll share that. If you guys want to come over, we can share that tradition with you guys this year.
We might have to do that. But
Wouldn't that be fun?
You know what that sounds like? Depressing.
No, it's the coolest thing on the planet.
Dude,
So
I wouldn't want to read any of my letters.
let me tell you what my letters read like. I tried to stop swearing at least 5 times, and it's like a joke to myself. And then we read things like when Bo was 5 and Ben was 2 or whatever. This year, dear Lord, this year I'm going to be nicer to my brother, and I won't beat him up or quaff farts in his face or something.
Oh my gosh.
And they're hilarious. They are
That's
hilarious.
what I'm saying, depressing. I'd be like,
Why would that be
shoot.
depressing?
I
That's
tried to
funny.
give up swearing again.
Yes, I don't write that anymore.
That's what I do. It'd be like me being like, I'm going to try and give up like all soda pop.
No, but you give up or you give. So I'm going to give. So you can give up, something that's bad about you, or give more from you. It's just whatever you want to put down, right?
Yeah.
It's just it's meant to pull your head and your heart to heaven and to look to God and live. I'm sorry for that. That's waxing religious, folk, but it really is a cool tradition that we do in our family, and we've been doing it for 25 years. And I'm gonna do it till the day I die.
Well,
And there's
if
great,
you're religious or not, it's still a good thing.
still a good practice.
I mean, self-control
yeah,
is super important.
yeah.
Like being able to control you, your body, your thoughts, your mind,
Why?
your consciousness.
Why is that? Why is it important? Tell me why you think that's
I
important.
think because it brings higher knowledge.
Yeah, it opens your consciousness.
Yeah, it opens up that world.
You see, so self-control is the opposite of animalistic reaction.
Yes.
Right. And I think the more, because we're sentient beings, and the more we exercise discipline and positive thought and action on that thought, the closer we get to the Creator's consciousness and each other's great consciousness. The more we let indulge in anger and pit each other against each other and argue and fight and squalm and act out violently on people, the more we become just primal pieces of shit. And we're not that. We're not animals.
No.
We're human beings that have a lot of different things,
We're
a lot of
intelligent.
complexities.
We're intelligent. We're intelligent. I mean, we can make choices.
Yeah, we have free will, and animals typically don't.
No,
They don't.
but
So we got 10 minutes left here. What are we going to do to
we're going to
just
talk about something that's dead.
dead?
Yeah, I want to tell you something that's dead. It's very sad this week.
Oh, okay.
I'll bring up my prop here.
Okay.
This, I hate to announce this, but Supreme has sold the rest of their business.
No.
And they sold out to a company that is, in my opinion, going to ruin it.
Oh no, that's such a bummer.
So congratulations, Supreme. You took something highly cool and opinionated which I didn't always agree with your opinions, but that's okay. That's how the world works. And you ruined it. And this is one of those cool things I have still left that I will keep, but I'm not happy with you. You sold out to the VF brand, which has a bunch of little cheap brands who are now probably going to try and put Supreme in every TJ Maxx nationwide. So thank you for being idiots. Now I'll go to my prop.
Well, just a side note. Here's what they probably did: sold out, made millions or billions.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they're going to create something else just like Supreme. It's not going to, and that'll become a commodity.
There's got to be a covenant not to compete, right? Like, I mean,
right, but that's going to last for 2 years. But Supreme will become a commodity, and then this will be worth more because it'll be before,
That'll be before the sellout.
Right.
The very thing that Supreme always went against, selling out.
And they sold out.
This, my friends.
What is this?
This is butterfly on the side. It's because if for anyone that loves ping pong, you're just going to have to watch the movie not the movie, the video on YouTube if you want to see this. But it's a very cool box. Opens up. And then as you open it up, oh, there we go. It has a paddle.
Ping pong paddle.
See? Right? See?
Very cool.
And then this is the other cool part. Let me pull this out here.
Oh, my word. Don't tell me. There's a ping pong
carrying case for your paddle.
Oh, my gosh. And what's that? Oh, no, it's not.
Carrying
a case for the balls.
For the ping pong balls. Emily has one of these, and this is how she owns me. This is carrying case.
Hopefully you guys just got the slight humor
innuendo there.
Yeah,
and it actually has 2 balls in it.
Oh my gosh! I hope we don't get censored.
No, the real ping pong balls are right here. They say Supreme Butterfly.
So your balls in a sack right there, a little bag.
A cool little bag that's portable and can be owned.
If the price is right, it can be owned, right?
That's right.
Very cool.
Now I'm just mad that all the cool stuff like this, hopefully, will continue, but I just know it won't.
That's a bummer. But you have a lot of cool Supreme stuff. You've given me some cools. I'm looking at something that was from a Supreme thing with this little dish you gave me.
Yeah, we just can't say what's on it.
No, has this profanity word with a bunch of pictures.
Oh wait, there's not another paddle.
There's just one paddle. So you didn't even get 2 paddles.
Good thing I bought 2 of them.
No wonder they're making money.
Do you know how much this was? Retail?
No.
$250.
Oh my gosh. So that paddle's probably cost $10 to make and maybe $10 for all the other stuff. And
classic Supreme Red.
Wow, classic.
Maybe I should just, I don't know. This just makes me mad, these people.
Well, Life Karma needs to take the place of Supreme.
Oh my gosh. That would be so cool.
Yeah, that's very cool.
A lot of people would be like, oh, the freaking crazy Sam and Brian.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. So the death of Supreme, I guess.
The death of Supreme, people.
So how are they going to redeem themselves? How's Supreme going to redeem themselves from selling out when they were the non-sellout brand?
I want to know how much they got, because for 49% of the brand, they got $500 million. So I want to know what they got in this last sale.
Well, it's probably worth more. The controlling interest, right?
Yeah.
So
can you imagine?
That's $1 billion. You just say, if you do the math, it's just as much as they got for 49%.
Well, I think it's interesting. They sold to a brand, but then a venture capitalist, not venture capitalist group, but a fund owns, a hedge fund owns the other 49%. So good luck, guys, getting along on that one.
Wow, that's interesting. Hedge funds are doing that. So
buying into a brand.
Yeah. So
brands are powerful. Brands are very
powerful. So what are we going to tell people? What kind of wisdom are we going to leave people with in our final minutes here about the concept of redemption and why we need to have redemption in our life?
I think redemption gives us perspective and gives us control over ourselves, because we've now had to. I always say one of the hardest things you have to do is be honest with yourself that you'll ever do in life, and redemption makes you do that. And so if you're honest with yourself and really work on those things that you know are your weaknesses, you know what your weaknesses are. We all do. We don't like to talk about them. We don't like to deal with them most of the time. But redemption helps us deal with it in a positive, healthy way.
Yeah. So to me, that means just work on continually getting better every day, and you'll be redeemed over time.
But be specific.
Right,
Do you know what I
right.
mean?
Don't be general.
Yeah, don't be general. Just like, I want to be better today. Like, what does that
Yeah.
freaking mean? Like, be better. Pick something specific.
Be better and do better. I read that quote somewhere along the line. I
And
like it.
breathe pure air
Through your nose.
in a what was it
Baric
called?
chamber.
Yes.
Hyperbaric chamber through your nose.
my gosh.
And life is better. But have a wonderful week, people.
Get a massage at Massage Bar in Lehigh or something. Like, get something that makes you feel much, much, much better. Please do.
Yes, your body will thank you.
Your body will thank you.
And peace out, people. Have a great, thankful week because Thanksgiving's coming up, and
Full of redemption.
give thanks and express your happiness to someone this week.